We've got recording.
Are recording. All right, today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Welcome to the Downtown Management Commission meeting. I will call roll. Erica Dahl. She's here online, thumbs up. Okay, great. Justin Calvin. Andy Nathan is not here. Don Poe.
Here.
And Stephanie Treats.
Here.
Great, I will now hand the proceedings over to the chair, Don, for yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Do you have any members of the public at this point?
We do not at this time.
So, we first have to do approval of the minutes. Would someone like to move anything in that? Motion to approve minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Great. Then I see we moved one of our meetings in November to just before Halloween, so we can come dressed up.
Sure, yeah, I have not moved it yet. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware and get approval of it, but November 11th is Veterans Day, so we were looking at moving it to October 28th.
Is it still Tuesday?
It's yes, still Tuesday.
Or for me? Got any plans? Erica, seem okay?
Sleeping.
Okay, great. Sounds like that's all okay.
Okay, perfect.
I jumped the gun a little bit on public participation just because I wanted to see if anyone's here. Has anyone joined since?
Not yet.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Topics will not be discussed unless there are questions. And I missed last time. I do have a couple minor questions. But does anyone else have questions about the consent agenda? Erica, I'll try to keep calling out to you, but feel free to go off mute too at some point if you need.
Two. Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. The question about the Commutify pilot, are we still in pilot phase?
We are through
Okay.
2025.
Through 2025?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, when will we be hearing on another round of evaluation?
Yes.
I imagine probably mid-year,
Uh-huh.
we'll start doing some survey data and analysis, and present that to you all and talk about next steps.
And then, for the outdoor dining pilot, is that also you?
That's
Outdoor
me
dining
too.
for, okay. Says that you'll be making some recommendations to council in 2025. Will you be bringing those to us first to discuss, and when do you think that might be?
So I'm gonna give you all an update today on the outdoor dining
Okay.
program, and a lot of that will include our recommendations for program improvements, including what we're gonna bring to council, which ultimately will be the code change is what we're recommending to make the program permanent.
Okay,
One of those water slides.
Water sides, yes.
then my third question is about the Boulder Arts Blueprint project.
I can answer questions.
Is there going to be a forum for DMC to participate in any phases?
So, we don't have that scheduled in. There's
Okay.
lots of public opportunities which we'll share, but I'll put forward that you made that request to see if, there's a way that the arts group can interact.
That maybe piggybacks on one of our priorities is kind of summits with other groups, and we talked about it, but I didn't know, can we make any movement on that? And I think the first thing would be coming up with agenda points and what we would want to cover and have the other groups come up with agenda points. But I would love to do that. Have like a bigger summit of commissions that kind of touch each other.
Sure, so the city has done joint commission meetings before. It doesn't lead from individual departments, though. It's something that comes from the city clerk's office, usually at the request of city council, saying, hey, would it be great if the Boulder Valley Comp Plan had a joint meeting of all these commissions that had input to that particular topic. So it's not something that comes as a request of an individual commission. We in Community Vitality could see some synergies between the commissions that we're the liaison to, particularly when it comes to general improvement district management, not necessarily the arts commission. And again, so those typically come as a request from city manager's office, city clerk's office, or council. So it's certainly been done before. It can be done when that's the advice that staff needs. It's more
Okay.
efficient to do it that way. Does that make sense?
Got it. So do you, maybe a second question is, do you think that the DMC has any role in arts in the downtown? Or is that solely like a very separate process where we would
Legislatively, no.
legislatively, yeah,
Although if there are, opportunities for recommendations for leveraging Caged capital dollars. Toward a subset of the community cultural plan, which is a citywide
yeah,
plan or blueprint. Then there could be some, a subset component, but DMC as the advisors for Caged could influence it and include.
okay. Well, if not influence, which is fine if we don't, to be like maybe informed or might make sense when.
Because I saw the thing about the
Yeah.
murals at the parking garages. and how-
Well, those are just like, we've talked, it intersects, and I was thinking of like the civic center. Like, we don't have any authority there or influence, but we've been informed at key points. So if not, part of the process, then to be informed about it, because it's. Hopefully will have a big impact on the look and feel of the downtown, which is one of our. At least I listed that as one of my priorities.
So, like I said, I'll definitely share all the engagement opportunities. I'll bring this up with the team. One thing, though, I do want to say is, in the future, when anything. Just like in the past, when anything directly related to your business, like the sculpture at Spruce,
Yeah,
you'll be involved. That's gonna continue for sure. So when we get specific, we'll be engaged. And so I'll find out the ways that, the general strategy that.
for caged properties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
One of my questions was around the downtown maintenance process review. And does that include the planning improvements that have been going on? Or speeding people through site reviews and code revisions and stuff like that?
So same words being used, process improvement, completely different framework and set of requests that we're getting from businesses related to just the overall look and feel of downtown in general. And maintenance of infrastructure that's sometimes owned and maintained by transportation mobility, sometimes parks and work, parks and rec, sometimes community vitality for Caged owned buildings. And the general public doesn't know where the boundaries are between individual ownership. And there are efficiencies that we're working across departments to identify ways to make sure that any work that needs to be happening when it comes to downtown maintenance is getting to the right person as efficiently as possible and reasonable, so that things can get taken care of. To hopefully meet as many people's expectations as possible, knowing that it is impossible to meet the expectations of everyone. Christine, do you have anything to add on that? Christine has taken the leadership in that cross-departmental conversation to identify the levels of service for all these different levels.
It feels like the majority of it. We're still in the fact finding moment, and we'll be communicating. I think I heard that the chamber and DDP are going to be helping to have conversations with business owners downtown. So yeah, we're setting up those meetings.
So similar in the sense that there are folks in the community who are wanting the city to move quicker on certain things. Very different in the sense of what's happening.
Maybe one piece of feedback. I've heard anecdotally from our meetings that how planning has, I know I'm changing topics from maintenance from what you're doing, Christine. But as a business owner now, I really appreciate my chair, my seat here being a business owner downtown. and having to go through leasing, and I've got people who are interested in my properties, and I've lost one of them because they were intimidated by the site review process. And I've heard that's been improved, and I've heard that. I haven't seen it because I haven't had to go through it. My leasing agent hasn't seen it, the improvements. Can we, maybe this is just some feedback to the planning department, and I'm doing the best I can here, making some noise, but this kind of gets to everything we need to do for downtown. For how we have so many vacancies. Can we do any case studies of like how it's better? So everyone has an experience for the city, and we've all seen the newspaper articles about how it's been hard and long, and people have waited 18 months and stuff. Can we get some case studies on the website so we popularize how easy it is now and all the changes? So people are less intimidated to enter into the process.
We can certainly elevate the question to our friends over in Plan Development Services and see if they have any easy response, because I guarantee you that's not the first time that they've heard the feedback. And so they might.
Because I appreciate they made changes, but no one knows that, and so people are still scared to start, and I lost a lease because of it.
Yeah.
So moving on. Erica, did you have anything else for consent agenda?
No, I don't think so, but yeah, I think anytime they say something's better, it's always nice to find out exactly who's defining how it's better.
Moving on to current financials and sales tax report, and that would be pages like 17 or so, right?
Yep.
What does, page 17 specifically, what does spending performance mean?
We will pass that one over to Elliot. Did you hear the question, Elliot?
Yes, I did. So you're talking about in regards to the that bar graph there on that front page of the report.
Yeah, I just wanted to define the term so I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's great. So one of the main reasons we do this is we want to, with the appropriation process and how funds are allocated from kind of the government public sector side of things. Part of our performance is measured on how much can we actually spend, due to the fact that we need to make sure that when we're doing the budgeting process, we're doing it accurately and it correctly reflects what the public should expect in terms of the level of service and also the amount of spend that we can provide in terms of our capital efforts, but also in our operating projects. We kind of consider that a performance metric, and that's why we use the term spend performance.
And so when you're looking at this graph in each of the work areas of community vitality, our goal is to get to 100%. This includes both non-personnel and personnel expenses. So if we have vacancies in a work group, that's going to impact our ability to get to 100% spending performance for that work group in the downtown district.
So this is how much you've met your budget.
How much of our
Yes.
budget we have? Yes, exactly.
So we're
spent of the
district
number
management,
spent.
we're at 50%.
Yeah, so that goes back to our, I'm sorry, what was that?
Where normally you want to be at 100% for, because that's where your goal to do something.
Yep. And we've been working with RTD. A lot of that is our RTD EcoPass contract for the businesses. And with the changes that they've implemented over the years, we've been pretty conservative in making sure that we have enough allocation there to appropriately fund that program. And each year, we're just not seeing the ridership come in. So the cost has actually been a little bit lower than what we've been budgeting. So good news is we do have some capacity to look at those unspent dollars to program otherwise, but that's one of the main reasons why you see our district management so low. On the customer service side of things, a large portion of that is credit card fees. So we have not been charged those credit card fees for the end of the year. So that may go up a little bit, being as it's just January 14th. But the credit card fees also decreased substantially because of our transition to Metropolis. So a huge portion of our expenses were those credit card fees in our garages because we were paying those, and now Metropolis, of course, passes those on. So you'll see a little bit of a reflection of that in our revenues. Well, I should say you should see it. It would be greater increase in revenues had we also separated the expenses of credit card fees too. So that was something that happened in late 23, and the 24 budget was already solidified. So that's one of the reasons why there's a decrease in expenses there on customer service.
I would also note that district funds, any unspent district funds, just go back to the fund balance for that fund. So these are caged dollars. Those unspent dollars mean that they're just
You can use them elsewhere.
exactly in the future. It's not like we didn't spend them and now they're gone and lost to other
The general fund.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe one other question while I'm talking. Next page, 18, basically the bottom line, materials, building equipment. Basically, in the scheme of things, it's not a lot, but of everything, that one doubled. Is that because of the flooding and all that stuff we had?
The freeze, yeah. Yep, so a big portion of that, it's actually much greater than that. That's just one of those bottom lines, happens to be at the bottom of the report numbers. If you were to filter that by percent used, you'd see a few other categories that were very overspent because of the freeze event. Fortunately, we had enough in appropriation that we did not have to worry about trying to get an adjustment to base in that 24 fiscal year. And that's in part due to some of the savings we saw in some of the other programs.
And then on page 20, right column, next to bottom line, 420475 miscellaneous parking charges. No, bottom one, very bottom one, miscellaneous revenues. Budgeted to have 65K in revenue, and we ended up with $500,000 in revenue.
That one was really nice. I wish
I like that.
yeah, we need to
Yeah,
find
what's your secret?
yeah. No, so this kind of harkens to the limitations we have in our old accounting system. We didn't really have anywhere to put basically what were expense recoveries. Government accounting, we have to apply them as revenues, even though they are expense recoveries. And that in particular is a lot of the St. Julian contributions back to our capital projects. So we paid in full all of the capital repairs that the St.
And they
Julian
paid
page
that.
did. And St. Julian then reimbursed us. So really it's an expense recovery, but for government accounting purposes, it shows up as revenue.
We could go back one page. There's
Sure.
also in the budgets column on the right, there was an unknown category, and is that just things without a budget code associated with it? But it's
Yeah, that negative $149,000. So that's again a little bit of our accounting system. I'll spare you the sausage being made here, but in a nutshell, it's the encumbrances and how they get calculated. They get double counted, and if we don't pull in the unknown column, it artificially inflates the budget. So we want to make sure we always pull in all of those things. So it is predominantly caged that comes out of that. That picture, I believe I showed you, and I'm trying to remember if I filtered. No, I did not. That's across all of our funds. So some of that is split elsewhere, but the $2.8 million that is available is an accurate number if you include the unknowns, which are just accounting, bookkeeping records.
So this is the last time you're going to see this report in this format, as of, was it last week or this last week?
Yeah, it's
Workday financials.
Correct.
So we will have a whole new reporting system once we get our Workday reporting figured out. So
Did you change your chart of accounts in the process?
We did.
Yeah.
But
Good
a
point.
lot of, so we were a little ahead of the game. The way we created our programs within our chart of accounts in our old financial system is really how we wanted it to look across programs. And going forward, we really did a good job of making sure that they map well to the new, and they don't use the word chart of accounts anymore. It's now called FDM, Foundations Data Module. And it is still lined up via program. So we'll still be able to report on how much we spend for the administrative program or the customer service program or those types of things. So we'll still have like for like in terms of the narrative, and as well as the budget numbers. So that's good. So it's more on the back end, things that you won't see, but the report will look different just because we don't have the integration with Power BI anymore. So DBD, hoping to produce a nice report for you all that gets you some high level. And I'd like to pull back in some of the fund financials as well. So you guys can kind of see what the overall fund health is year to date. So hoping to get some of that included here in the next commission meeting.
You have any concerns in the budget? Is there anything to really flag?
Nope. No, I toot my own horn here. Oh, I'm gonna toot Community Vitality's horn. We obviously, as Chris said, all of our district funds, we really are conscious about the money we spend and how it gets spent, and it's all, for lack of a better term, dedicated to the efforts that Community Vitality puts forth. That said, the general fund is that pot of money that is kind of for everybody, and we ask for money from the general fund for those citywide efforts. And if we don't spend it, it goes back to the general fund. That means we don't ever get it again. It just means it goes back to the general fund. But we did a outstanding job this year. We spent 99.04% out of the general fund, which was a huge effort from our staff. And that's the only thing that I would say that is a little outside of this report that's very noteworthy.
Waffle firms.
I have a question about the sales tax section on 23.
Okay.
Sort of a question, not about the numbers, but I was separately reading about the prime effect and the estimated impact with some examples from the downtown that Pasta J's thought their business got better or something like that. It's just there seems to be, if I'm reading this correctly, a disconnect between the numbers cited in some of these reports by, I don't know if it's chamber, and what's seen in the sales tax numbers. So I'm curious about, maybe we just haven't seen it yet. It's just September, or
So, yeah,
not really felt in the downtown. What do you think?
too early since there's such a latent.
How do they know then if there's such a late?
Well, so we'll learn more, and the games there was a big gap between the first game and the second home game this year, so the schedule this year for games was a bit different, so we're gonna see some impacts there.
Yeah.
So it's too early to say since this only goes through September.
Okay.
Hopefully, and October might also not look great because we had less games in October than we did last year, if I recall correctly.
Maybe those were, I don't know if that was last year's numbers, but maybe it's based on last year. Okay,
Right,
Yeah.
2023 was a very strong year sales tax wise.
yeah,
And we had Coach Prime here for that.
Yeah.
So it was a tough year to compete with inflation slowing down, which one
yeah,
way we're happy about that, but when sales tax is a percentage based game, when folks are not spending more than they were the previous year, then you're gonna see that play out in sales tax.
yeah, so it could have been worse without you. Right, yeah, okay,
Exactly.
got it.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Don.
Well, it seems like we're close for pre-pandemic, but still below, especially considering inflation overall,
Yes.
which the team, I'm sure you've seen.
But 2023
Doing other stuff,
strong.
I'm not calling it this week.
Or Pasta J is a signal. all it was.
We'll add a chart here for Pasta J's year-over-year performance.
Anything else on financials? Moving on to agent visitation reports. I love looking at all this, but I didn't have any specific questions.
I was gonna ask a more skeptical question. That data is good, but like what actionable insights has this produced?
What have we done with it?
Yeah, what have we done with it? As a tech company founder myself, who always has to justify ROI, I'm curious about what the ROI is from the Placer AI work, like what has been acted upon and what can be acted upon? Can I answer that question?
Sure, can't ask the question. Happy to speak to it. I mean, first of all, say our Placer AI investment at this point is $20,000 a year. Split between, well, actually, I think Parks and Rec paid for it this past year. This year, so 2025, we're planning to split the expense with the city manager's office. And that $20,000 gets everyone at the city eligible for a login. So it's not just limited to this work group, it's the whole city, anybody who wants to start using this tool. So we see it as pretty worthwhile, but as long as we're using it and how's it translating into action. And so one element is looking at trends over time to understand how do we better connect perception versus reality of the sky is falling and doom and gloom, and where should we actually be focusing. I'd say that our analysis of the downtown, when we look at the West End, Pearl Street Mall, and the East End footfalls, that we have some data that tells us where we should probably be focusing marketing campaigns, activation efforts, things to when we're working with the Downtown Boulder Partnership on how we want to prioritize a campaign or special events. This has been very
This is
informative
how you
for us.
know where to focus.
Exactly.
It's a great answer.
Okay, thank you.
Split across the whole city.
It's quite, it
Makes a
is
lot of
much
sense.
more expensive for private operators.
Yeah,
that's and they
Lower than I thought.
they
Okay,
do provide this pretty affordably for the public sector.
cool. Okay.
Anything else on Placer? Moving on to the quarterly Parks and Rec update.
Denise, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I am Denise Dawson. I am the Senior Urban Parks Manager for Parks and Recreation, and Christine had asked me to, I think back in November, just kind of come and give like an overall like Pearl Street Mall Park Ops review for last year. So it's gonna be short and sweet. First thing I wanted to touch on is just our staffing levels, just so that, people are aware. Some questions do come up about that. We have 4 full-time staff positions for our Pearl Street Park Operations team. And currently, right now, 3 of them are filled. We have a lead tech, and then we have 2 technicians. We have 1 vacancy. So if anybody knows of anybody that wants to work on Pearl Street and Park Operations, sending our way, that job's gonna be posted soon. And typically in the summer, we hire anywhere from 4 to 7 seasonal staff to help out in summer, primarily doing trash duties and stuff like that. This past summer, I believe we had 5. So that's really helpful for coverage on the weekends to help us keep the area nice and clean. Another thing I wanted to touch on very quick is just our operations. We have our normal routine operations, which is, our daily trash removal, landscaping. And then we also have our more reactive stuff. But for our routine operations, this year we kind of tracked our hours to try to be more accurate with how, staff are spending the time and what we are actually doing in our system. And for our irrigation, we spent approximately 715 hours last year doing irrigation work, and this includes monitoring, repairs, fixing stuff for
That's just for downtown Pearl Street.
just for the Pearl Street. Like all of this is just for Pearl Street.
Can you say that number again?
715 hours. For the year.
Hours there.
Yes,
This
and
is for the irrigation for like the flower
Mhm.
beds and stuff.
The
Okay.
trees, yeah.
The trees, okay.
And that's just the 4 blocks of the mall,
Yeah.
not entire.
Just the
downtown.
mall.
yeah, yeah.
And they
And
run irrigation from 9th all the way to 18th along the Pearl Street Mall, or
Yeah.
along Pearl Street, so that's just on 4 blocks of the mall.
And what's interesting to kind of touch back on that Placer AI data, Pearl Street, that little section that Park Operations takes care of is our highest, most visited site in our park system with 1.6 million visitors last year. And on average, I think if I read it right, people typically stay around an hour, like 60 minutes when they're down there. So it's a lot of people in a small spot.
Like fixing sprinkler heads, like how can you spend that much time?
Well, there's lines, there's irrigation lines, there's backflows, there's irrigation clocks that need reprogrammed. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the irrigation. And the horticulture, so the planting, the pruning, the weeding, it takes up even way more time. That's 1,788 hours that our staff is down there, and that's not including the lunch hours. And then
That's great.
another big thing that we spend time on down there is obviously trash. The staff down there spend approximately 1,580 hours last year doing trash. So that's doing the trash cans, picking up ground trash. It also includes like blowing off the sidewalk, the tree off the sun, bricks as well. And then that's just our normal daily, weekly, annual stuff that we do. And then we have our more reactive stuff, which is like the inquiry folder request. So, we'll get the CRMs that come in for graffiti removal, vandalism. And
How does your team organize with the baskets?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
we do work with the ambassadors. I've only personally been with the city for 6 months. I do know that we work with the ambassadors. We work with the urban rangers as well and try to all coordinate together. Our downtown park, our downtown parks supervisor has quarterly meetings with their group as well. To try to coordinate more and talk and like let each other know what upcoming projects are.
But like, it sounds like there's a lot of graffiti that everyone's working on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And last year we had 115 inquiry builder requests, and that does not include all the forestry requests. Those go through our forestry group. And so they're completely separate group, make it for those separately. So we had 115 requests on stuff like the graffiti, the vandalism and safety hazards. Like one that we had come in recently was a bolt on a bench and somebody noticed, they're like, oh, this could snag somebody. And we truly appreciate when that stuff comes in because sometimes we don't see it because there's a lot of benches on Pearl Street. And then I just want to get to some of these statistics just because I think they're fun and unique to our system, unique to Pearl Street. Our team, they had 70 hanging flower baskets that they watered and maintained last year. They installed they replaced 2 drinking fountains. They sanded and refinished 53 benches along the wall. Which, when you think of just that small spot, that's a lot of stuff, a lot of work and a lot of people that go into making it look like a great place. And then also, when I was prepping for this, I reached out to our volunteer services supervisor with Parks and Rec, because we do get quite a few volunteers, which are usually appreciated, and they help with our flower planting. So last year we had 50 volunteers that did our flower planting and tulip planting, which was nice. And then that totaled about 150 volunteer hours. And then another thing that I want to touch base on as well, because it's not all just about flowers on Pearl Street. We do get snow. So we had 23 snow showers last year, which is way less than what we had the previous year in 2023. I think there was like 50 something.
Before snow.
Yeah, and we're getting snow later this week, so our crews are getting ready for that. And then this is just a picture that I actually got from our volunteer supervisor of some of our great volunteers and planting flowers on Pearl Street. So it looks really good. I love those flowers.
Question about the snow.
Yeah.
Like on a lot of other side streets, it's the property owner has to shovel. I assume the mall itself is handled by the city, not the.
Yep, we have a crew that's down there usually, snow blowers, skids, they have This year we don't. But yeah, we're gonna. try to see. Right, that's what-
Question that maybe someone can answer. Does Boulder? I know we have trouble with enforcing punishment of petty crimes. Do we have any community service volunteer programs that
Yeah.
support this? There's like a lot of, actually a lot of volunteers who didn't do anything wrong also. They're just volunteering their time, but like, curious if there's any active like community service programs that help with some of these manual labor tasks that are typically part of
Yeah.
community service programs.
We do have some groups that we work with to get, you know, some help in those areas. They help a lot with the trash pickup. They
Yeah.
also help with weeding, and graffiti removal as well. So we do work with some organizations that do.
But not like people locally, do you have, yeah,
I can offer a little bit of
Yeah.
insight if it's helpful.
Yeah.
The Parks and Rec has a partnership with Ready to Work.
Yeah.
And they come out, I believe, 3 to 4 days a week. So they'll come out, they'll help remove trash, they'll help with snow mitigation, leaf mitigation. And they're part of our quarterly operations meeting with Parks and Recs, Christine, city Parks and Rec staff and transportation, and it's part of a team effort.
is that what's ready to work? Like mission or like?
I think like work release.
I think technically, yes, people coming out of homelessness and like
Okay.
stabilizing, so. they-
Okay, so it's like work opportunity, but not
Work opportunity.
necessarily like
It's
a
not a community, like forced community.
forced
service.
community service. Okay,
Yes, to help grow jobs too.
okay, which is also great. I was curious about the forced community service part, if we do that in Boulder County.
From
Well.
the county jail.
Yeah,
I feel like there's only one volunteer coordinator
yeah,
for Boulder Parks and Rec, and I don't know if they have the capacity to coordinate all volunteer at that level.
that's a big level, but I was just curious about whether we do that, there are other ways. that Putting jail is not an option and isn't a good option, I think. for a lot of people. Okay. It's a random question.
And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come and talk about our.
You guys, that is
Thank
a
you.
big deal.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I bring this up on every board. So I'm on the 1100 block and I know we have a bear situation, but the trash cans, customers are like, it's crazy, you guys don't have trash cans here. Like, I would think you guys would have trash cans here. I keep going over to these black things and they're not trash cans. And I've kind of talked to some people about it, and I think ultimately we've concluded that they're too pretty, that they're too nice, and they kind of look like newspaper stands because we spent all this money to use these like 1900s images. So I feel like sometimes customers will be like, I've been carrying this ice cream container for 3 blocks looking for trash. And I know it used to say landfill, and I think maybe they went back and started saying trash because that was a confusion too. But it is just something that I'm always trying to bring up because I'm like, when customers come into my store, I'm like, is that trash? Do you want me to throw that away for you? Because you're never going to find the trash can. So I'm just wondering if you ever get that kind of feedback from anybody.
I have not gotten that yet. That doesn't mean that has not been given to somebody else like downtown. I don't think we've heard that about.
I have heard that feedback. I think. One data metric is that we do have to empty those trash cans on a very consistent basis, so some people are finding their way to them. I
Right.
do agree that the black and white sometimes can fade off into the background. And we could have a whole graduate level seminar on trash can signage, and I would be happy to lead it because it's one of my pet projects with passion.
They are very pretty because my kids are always touching them. I'm like,
Maybe we need to do like a vinyl wrap that looks like it's trash.
yeah, there's some trash cans are like,
Yeah.
these are like,
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, from the
Christine,
waste
do you want to speak to Big Valley trash can replacement?
So we are working on district vitality and the maintenance team. I'm partnering to put all new Big Belly trash cans up on the hill, so this does not impact this group yet. It's not an inexpensive endeavor, so we're gonna start with the hill, test it out, make sure that our community enjoys them and that they are sturdy enough to survive what goes on the hill, and if they are sturdy enough there, they should be sturdy enough here. And then we can work that into future budgets for trash.
And these trash cans are, they're
Bear
resistant.
Yeah,
They also, so they
About
meet those
foot
requirements,
out.
yes.
so that you don't have to touch anything with your
Yeah, because it's so. Ugh.
nasty.
Yeah. They look like trash cans.
Yeah,
And so we're hopeful that, because we do hear that feedback. So we'll be working with Parks and Rec because we're
they're gonna be delivered on Friday.
for the
Friday,
hill. So
For the hill.
check out the hill trash cans and let us know your thoughts.
And they should be installed over the next 3 weeks, so.
The challenge with the hill trash cans is we don't have Parks and Recreation. We do, they have the ambassadors, but those trash cans on the hill get abused. So they are not, they won't like touching it very much. So we're glad to be able to offer the foot pedal opening so people don't have to touch the trash can in order to throw their trash out.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Bettina,
Yeah, I was just gonna say on my personal Instagram account, I have a featured stories that's called Trash Cans of Planet Earth, where I take pictures of trash cans everywhere I go, so.
Whoa, that's cool. I guess.
Have a new follower.
It's, I have a strange sub hobby. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, great to be here. Happy New Year, everybody. Started our year off strong, and I did send over a presentation. Bring that up for us. Thank you, thank you. I'm so glad I got to follow that because, you know, one of the things that we've really been working on over the last quarter, and really, I think since I got here, is trying, since Christine got in her role, is trying to just figure out and catalog who is responsible for all of the different aspects of maintaining our downtown. And it's incredibly complicated and layered and as you can see, it just requires countless hours that you then try to count and tabulate. And so, you know, we also kind of share the credit for all of the activities in a lot of different ways. You know, there's a slide about giving away the tulip bulbs. Well, they couldn't do that tulip bulb giveaway without us coordinating through the businesses. So it really is truly a partnership, and we're grateful for all of the work that everybody does. So my report, I will just share with you a little bit on our pedestrian counts. Go to the next slide. These are just for October.
Sorry, that
Oh.
changed the entire.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
It's prettier than my slide, so. It's super interesting for us to see the pedestrian counts alongside the Placer data, and I think we'll continue as we sort of dive in and
are
figure
your
out.
pedestrian counts different from the place?
They are indeed. We have cameras, and they're not taking pictures of your face. They're just taking a football count of when you walk. So it's actually a pedestrian impression. So it's a little bit disingenuous because Bettina Swigger, for example, walks up and down like 60 times a day.
For 50%.
So I count for pretty much just, yeah, looking at all the trash cans. No, I bet that it is inclusive of people who are walking multiple times. So the Placer AI has a little bit more depth and detail, and that's why we think it's important to be able to see both. But the pedestrian also isn't counting people who might be getting on their bikes. They're literally on foot at 3 different camera locations in the downtown. So we can capture the west end, the center of the mall, and exiting the east end. It's been really helpful for us to look at year-over-year traffic, and it's also super helpful when we're trying to invite sponsors to come in and help us with our events, because we can say, hey, you're going to have 15,000 people downtown when it's the Pearl Street Arts Fest, or you're going to have 30,000 people when it's the Munchkin Masquerade, or what have you. So we did see a little bit of a decrease November to November. December was up a little bit because, no, December was down a little bit, but year to date, we were up. I think that's in part due to some weather stuff that we were talking about, where they didn't have as many snow clearings. We didn't have those terrible snowstorms in late November, early December that just kind of shut down downtown. So we keep track of that and we love to see how it works with our partners who are gathering data for Placer. On the next slide, we wrapped up our 2024 So Boulder marketing brand campaign. And we tied it this year in the last quarter to a lot of holiday marketing. So we had winter wonderland, puffer jackets, that So Boulder, the whole winter campaign with the commercial. I think I showed that to you at the last meeting that we had. And we've had some really good traction. Our click-through rate on all of our digital advertising has been really strong. We also did a bunch of TV advertising and that.
Because you're clicking on everything.
Yeah, I'm responsible for all the success. And none of the problems. No, this is just from our media agency. They show us all of the different metrics. We push out our marketing materials primarily to the local community and to Metro Denver. And then we rely on our partnership with Visit Boulder to reach the rest of the state and then to do beyond that. You can go to the next one. This is again, just some more information about our website and the click-through rates on our program, specifically looking at Denver and Boulder. So our fall creative did really well and our winter creative also did really well. We're just leveraging our dollars and using our organic social media to push that message out as much as we can. You can go to the next slide. Sorry, I'm gonna go through this pretty quick here. This is again about outdoor campaigns and events. And then on the next one, I sent all this out with your packet. This is more about the brand new, hot off the presses, 2025 Pearl Street Mall Downtown Boulder guide. So this just got delivered on Monday morning. We had 25,000 copies distributed. This is a mix of promoting businesses in downtown, and also there's a little bit of paid advertising in here for people who want to be showcased above and beyond. We distribute these at the Visitor Center, at hotels around the Front Range, in Boulder and in Denver. And then we also have a partnership with the Colorado Tourism Office, and we get about 100 inquiries a week for people who want to get a copy of this, and we send it in the mail to them. So I'm super excited about it. It's right.
I am.
We also want to just call out specifically, there's a little choose your own adventure kind of scavenger hunt that you can do. And thanks to the city for offering a little pumpkin promotion. So we'd like to encourage people to, even if they're not tourists, take a copy of this and maybe put it in your business, give it to your local people, give it to your friends who might be visiting. We found in our Intercept survey that the #1 reason people come here on vacation is word of mouth to visit a friend or family. So it's always good to just have one of these in the bag or on your person, so you can spread the propaganda everywhere you go. On the next slide, just a little bit more about how we do this work. I already said that. Then we can go into the next slide. Our social media continues to perform really, really well. We've got 33,000 followers on Instagram, 32,000 followers on Facebook. And like I said, we have a lot of paid Meta ad placement that we work with our branding campaign and on our events.
How that works for comparable cities that
We are admired by other cities. I will put it that way. Yeah, we do pretty well. I think there's room to grow, particularly on Instagram, because that seems to be sort of the site that's growing the fastest right now. We launched a TikTok channel and that has about 1,500 subscribers. That'll now be canceled. So I don't know if we're going to be moving over to the communist Red No version that everyone's talking about. Probably not a good thing to talk about.
Probably not.
But we really are always trying to be in touch with the latest trends, and we know we just have we have people get really excited about it. And there's a lot of CU Boulder alumni, especially who engage with our social media, kind of as like a nostalgia for wanting to come back, even if they don't live in Boulder necessarily.
Give it to her daughter.
Not intentionally. But maybe, what do you mean?
You remember wins and here's that Paul Danish article.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
You wanna just. Well, well, to get right, for that engagement stuff, instead of just posting pictures of like, here's remember when back in '84. And here's pictures from that day and throwbacks. and,
Yeah,
You know, it was this way now, then here it is now.
totally. I'm sure we do. I think we partner with the Museum of Boulder too, like sometimes they are in historic Boulder. They'll post posters, they'll post old photos. and-
Right here,
Oh, there you go.
on the brochure, page 14 and 15 down.
But that's a for sure.
Pedestrian stops then and now.
I'm just thinking of ideas to
Totally.
help with engagement.
Totally appreciate that. I will share that with our social media coordinator. We also have really good traction with our newsletters, our click-through rates on our newsletters. We send a lot of them. Forward facing to customers and also internally to communicate with our businesses. So takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. Any questions on that? Everyone?
What about the gift cards? Like, why are there, what was with the October huge, massive increase?
Ah, the gift cards. Yes. Okay. So the gift cards basically always start to ramp up in October. And then in November and December, they go up. November, it was actually a little bit lower year over year. And then in December, it went way up. We sold $88,000 worth of gift cards in December. And so that's a lot of fulfillment. We hand process every single one, either at the visitor center or at our front desk. Interestingly, on the gift card tip, we asked our gift card vendor what the outstanding amount of gift card balances is out there in the community. Who wants to guess?
Oh, a lot.
$485,000. So
Wow.
I see that as a person, people need to look in their wallets. and see
Yeah.
if they download the
I
gift
use
card
mine.
And come downtown and
Last
spend that, because that is literally $500,000 that we could be pumping into the local economy.
So it's not a. Who gets the money because they bought the gift card?
It's just sitting.
It's just sitting. It's just
doesn't
sitting.
run-
It's
It
a-
doesn't expire.
Spent.
But who pays, is it the fees bank account?
No, it's a credit card supplier. We work with a vendor. So that's, yeah.
Are you gonna do a campaign to like spend your gift cards?
We did a little social media post last week, and we're talking about ways
Yeah, I
to.
saw that.
But it's wild, and I mean, I have a couple that I haven't spent, so.
Same.
Yeah,
Maybe businesses would also put up signs, like, spend your gift.
right?
Cause I think
Yeah.
like I have gift cards and they're like sitting in my house, cause they can't fit in my phone wallet. And then I like never, maybe I only have this problem, I like never forget, I always forget to bring them with.
Well, it's 100%
Yep.
known. And all the companies out there love gift cards because people buy them and never use them.
Yeah.
It's a known.
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure they're not sitting in interest-bearing accounts.
We are gonna be making a change to our gift card program in the summertime. We're gonna wait till we get through the graduation season, because that's another time where a lot of people buy gift cards as gifts for their teachers or graduates. And then we're gonna be changing vendors to a gift card vendor that is able to provide the digital version. And it'll also work with Apple Pay, and it'll do some more 21st century kind of things that we're.
Oh, that would be really nice.
Yeah, we're excited
You
about
can load
that.
it in your wallet.
Exactly. So you won't have to worry about leaving it at home.
Yeah. Or losing it.
And then selfishly on our team, it means we won't have to be fulfilling the cards anymore. We will have an in-person option, but the company will actually be printing those cards and mailing them instead of our staff doing it. So we'll be
Cool.
able to spend things on our time on other things. Like beautifying and enhancing the downtown. Let's go on to the next slide here. I wanted to just make you aware that we partnered with Visit Boulder on a survey of the restaurants in Boulder. And this is a citywide survey, not just downtown Boulder. But we wanted to do this because we were hearing from our restaurant community that they're feeling the pinch. I'm sure this isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, but especially with minimum wage increase and the tip change, the tip credit being unchanged in the state of Colorado, and the cost of inventory going up and people just dining out less. There are some concerns from the restaurant community, and we wanted to see how much of this is reality, what's the signal, what's the noise, and how we can come together to try to maybe help do some cross promotion and some marketing. So we did get 109 responses, which is pretty amazing for a survey. I'm not sure exactly how many businesses, how many restaurants there are in Boulder, but this is a pretty significant chunk of them, I would imagine. The majority of the ones that responded are casual. They're just.
Yes, I think so. Is it gonna?
This is an interesting sort of bell curve that you can see. How has your restaurant's income changed year to date from 2023? Most of the people said stayed about the same or decreased by less than 10%. So that's, you know, not a terrible margin, but it's also not like anybody's really ringing the bells about having a grand success. Now on the next slide, you can see we asked about the expenses, and the expenses have increased by just over. Nobody's saying, oh, things cost less. So that's a pretty clear signal to us that we want to be really helpful for these businesses, and encourage people to use their gift cards and go downtown, even if they're doing a dry January. You know, you can go out and have a mocktail. You can really, you're going to help support these local businesses that support, that employ neighbors and all of this. And we have some data now to show it. The next slide. We can see there's the minimum wage increase and rising operational costs are the main concerns, as well as an economic downturn and recession. And we want to acknowledge that there are always macroeconomic forces that we cannot be held responsible for as Downtown Boulder Partnership or even the city of Boulder. So that's a little bit out of our realm of control. But these other options are maybe specific to our area.
One question I got on this slide was if, I just didn't know what other questions, were these the only questions and they had to rank these, or was that when I just think about the electrification process that's gonna be coming? Do they know about it? Were they concerned about it?
We didn't specifically put that on there because
Not yet.
it's not yet. Yeah, so we're kind of trying to take like one problem at a time. I did not include all of the answers to the survey. These are just some select ones to give you all a sense of what, am I out of time?
No, sorry to, and I typically try not to do this. But on this slide, it would be interesting to know the percentage, because these are averages, right? So it would be nice to know if the percentage of respondents who said staffing is a 1 versus and 1. It's just a little,
Sure.
and 1 is most concerning. So does that mean that the shorter bars are the more concerning things?
1 is more concerning, 5 is least concerning.
Right. So the most concerning things on here then are staffing and seasonal fluctuations.
Oh, I
Is it-
see what you're saying.
Right.
It's a little hard to understand what this slide is actually.
Yep,
Oh, 5 is the least.
I am going
Oh, I read
to,
5 is most. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, maybe.
I can follow up with you about that later. I don't have that on the top of my head. But that's a really good point.
So the most concerning is staffing. and
Maybe
fluctuation.
not.
That's exactly.
Or maybe, yeah.
Or it could be that the question is,
The title's wrong.
yeah, I'm not sure.
So that would be really helpful.
Yep, noted. Thank you, Chris. Is there another slide on that?
There's 3.
So this one, we're saying, okay, well, we know that we've identified some problems. What would you be interested in and how can we help? What's very cool is that people are interested in some kind of citywide restaurant work with Restaurant Week or other dining promotion. We know that First Bite didn't happen in 2024. I'm going to be meeting with the Saber Productions people in the next couple of weeks to see if there's any appetite, no pun intended, to bring that back. We're not sure what that would, obviously probably wouldn't be in first quarter or anything, but if there is some kind of way to have that program come back, that would be great.
What is that program, like, what's, remind me of the Taste of Pearl, like the difference between a program like that and.
So Taste of Pearl is, it's actually a fundraising event for our organization, and
Okay.
that's one afternoon. Where you buy a wristband and you go into select locations and you get a taste of something and a sip of something.
Okay.
First Bite was, to my understanding, it was more of like a restaurant week promotion. Where each restaurant would offer a different menu, had like a prefix kind of a thing, and it was just a
Yeah, okay,
way to build enthusiasm of the restaurant. Has anyone done First Bite? Bring it correctly.
sounds cool.
Yeah, it's been around, it was around for a really long time, but yeah, it was basically restaurants would pick a prefix menu and I guess the idea is kind of you're showcasing what what dishes you think best represent your restaurant. And usually I think the idea behind it is it's supposed to be a better deal than if you just came in and ordered an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And so it's a limited time period. So it encourages people, if there's a restaurant that they've been wanting to try, then you're kind of getting a little bit of a deal. And it's like, it's encouraging you to come down and eat because it's a limited amount of time and it is a special menu. It's kind of like this reintroduction to things that maybe you never thought you were interested in, but you're willing to give it a try for like $49 a person or something like that.
Awesome, yeah. And there's many communities have this, Denver. Does
Yeah.
it, cities do it, but we just haven't had the coordinated promotion before. Let's go on to the next slide.
It's not a ratio, but I am trying to fight time tonight, so,
Totally. All right, so just a little commercial, our student banner program where we showcase local artists is ongoing. So those banners are up on the mall now and you can go get them. They're darling and wonderful and cute. I just talked a little bit about Taste of Pearl, but please save the date for that. It's going to be Sunday, April 6th. Tickets are going to go on sale in mid-February. And then of course we'll have our iconic Tulip Fairy and Folk Festival, April 27th. Another commercial I would really love to have the whole DMC come to our annual awards luncheon, which is going to be on Friday, February 21st at the St. Julian Hotel. I'm super excited about that. And this year, in addition to giving 5 awards, 3 to businesses and 2 to individuals, we are adding an award for an ambassador of the year to highlight our Clean and Save program. And we'll be giving that award to James Mayfield, who is a team lead for Block by Block, and he works up on the Hill and in downtown. So we're really trying to highlight the connections between downtown and university.
We typically purchase a couple tables and invite everybody to feel the event before. So we have no doubt for that invitation. Ellie, I don't know if that's on your to-do list, but
I was gonna grab it tomorrow morning when I was doing meeting minutes. Yeah, I made a mental note.
Great, and then I included this with your report, but just because sometimes people like to look at paper. We have officially transitioned to our new operations manager for Block by Block. His name is Zach. He came to us from the Colfax Mayfair bid. And he got his start when the Boulder Ambassador Program first started. So he's doing a great job. He's brought on some new recruits. We've got some lovely new friendly faces down there, and we are working in the new SMART system, which is not quite as complicated as your new financial system, it sounds like, but there are always a little bit of a hurdle when you adopt a new system. And I know we are on a little bit of a time crunch, but I wanted to show you just one super cool tool that we have in the SMART, the system. So this is our kind of behind the scenes.
This is just gonna be delayed.
Oh, gotcha.
What do you need to click? Sorry.
Oh, this. Already locked on. So every ambassador who goes out and works a shift has an RFID chip in their uniform, and it's collecting data on where they're going. So we can actually track exactly where they walk. We can find out whether they've walked in front of a certain block, in front of the building, how many times, when they went. And so I'm just kind of showing you This sped up, this is from yesterday, from 6 AM to 11:59. You can see, zooming out, all of those little colored lines are our ambassadors and where they're going. So our team lead then will go out, and if I were him, I would say, yeah, why nobody made it like on this street yesterday? And maybe that zone, whoever's assigned to that zone, we can say, can you make sure to make a stop on 13th Street and can you make sure to lock up on 12th? Each of those colored areas is a different zone, and 2 ambassadors are assigned to each zone on a 2-week rotating basis. And then they're switched so that they don't develop that kind of confirmation bias, don't see it blinder situation where you're just going through the motions. So this is super cool and a little bit Orwellian, but it's a helpful tool for us to really make sure that we're hitting the areas that we need to. And there's a lot of other cool features that I can show you, but maybe we'll save that for another time, when we're not on the time crunch and I haven't been babbling at you for 30 minutes, so. Just
Oh,
wanted to
great.
give
I'd
you
love to
a
see
little preview.
Mr. Brown is stumbling like a lot. But if there is stuff you want to highlight, please do.
I think that's fine. You can see the report if you have any questions about it. We're continuing to refine it, and we're always working to do better and make sure that we're communicating out to people the work that we are doing, because so much of it is invisible.
I'm a huge fan. I thank every pastor I see.
Thank you. It's a lot,
Listen, this is.
especially if they're doing something gross. Right?
Matters from staff, improvement district analysis. Thank you, Chief. Improvement district analysis update.
All right, over to Matt.
So it has my name on it, but.
I can take it.
Talking,
I will
but
do the talk.
just excited that we're kicking this off after so much talking.
Thanks, Matt. Just want to make sure our consultants are online. Hi, Amanda and Brad. So I'll just give you all a brief refresher. This project will provide guidance on financial and governance tools to support healthy commercial areas throughout our city, better meet the needs of our community. And this analysis will include reviewing existing conditions within our existing general improvement districts and offer recommendations focusing on near-term improvements and long-term sustainability for our commercial areas. So we have selected Puma, Progressive Urban Management Associates, based out of Denver. For this work, they have a ton of experience in district analysis efforts, helping establish new districts, etc. So I will let you all introduce yourselves, Brad and Amanda.
Great, thanks, Regan. Can you guys hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for making time on your agenda today. We are coming to you from the beautiful basement of the Brighton City Hall. So we have a meeting with their city council tonight, so we appreciate you accommodating us remotely. Today, what we want to do was simply to give you an introduction to who we are and what we're going to be up to. And then as time permits, see if you have any general questions. So, and also, is Bettina still in the room?
Yes.
Yeah, Bettina, I want to thank you. We've been wondering what to call a new blog that we want to post on our website, and we're going to call it Trash Cans and Planet Earth. So
TM, I expect royalties.
you have earned them. You have earned them in a big way. So Brad and Amanda, we are 1/4 of Puma, Progressive Urban Management Associates. We are based in Denver. We're downtown focused, and we're real estate economists and planners. We've worked nationally. We've worked in 40 states, more than 300 clients, and that's over the last 30+ years. Myself, I am from Denver. I got my start in this business in Denver. So I worked with the Downtown Denver Partnership back in the late 80s, early 90s, did economic development work and worked with the Business Improvement District there. And then the last 31 years have had the great run of running around the country, working with great people like Bettina, and Regan and others throughout the country that do this kind of stuff. I also go back in time with Boulder. So I've had a series of engagements with both downtown Boulder and the Hill, going back to the late 90s. I was part of the team that helped form the Business Improvement District in downtown Boulder. And then more recently, we helped put together a retail study. I think in 17 was that one. And then worked with DBI on a business plan for the foundation during the pandemic. And then we've had also some light therapy with the Hill in between all of that. So we know Boulder extremely well. We're really thrilled to be part of this project. And our project manager is Amanda.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to see those of you I've met before and meet those of you I have not. So Amanda Kennard, I have been with Puma for coming up on 8 years here in March. So during that time, like Brad, I've had the opportunity to work on various different types of improvement district projects, both in the Front Range and nationally. So I've done a lot of strategic planning. I've helped to form bids and downtown development authorities in Colorado and elsewhere. And then I've also done downtown planning work in the Front Range as well. So thrilled to be here. Like Brad said, I'll be the project manager and look forward to working with you all throughout this process.
So just a quick comment, just in terms of the work ahead. It's gonna be fast and furious. So, you know, maybe Fast and Furious 10 or whatever those movies are. We've got a lot to do in a relatively short period of time. This is not as much a planning exercise as it is an evaluation of past plans in terms of what's charted for the future for downtown and the other districts. And then it's looking under the hood at the improvement district infrastructure that you have there. So the general improvement district, the bid goes back, 25 years. These were all created in a different time and in many respects for a different downtown. So we'll be evaluating improvement districts in downtown, the Hill, Boulder Junction. We'll be making some near-term recommendations. We'll also be looking at maybe longer-term perspective. We'll also be looking at the whole tool chest of the types of districts that work in downtowns. So certainly the bid, the GID, also Downtown Development Authority. Amanda mentioned that in her intro. We know this is something that Boulder has been contemplating. And it's something where we have deep knowledge, including just recently in Denver. We were the consultant team that advised Denver on expanding their DDA from Union Station throughout all of downtown. And you may have read that's going to create a minimum of $500 million of funds for investment over the next 14, 15 years. So anything else?
No, I don't think so.
So that, Regan, let me know if there's anything else we should add, but that's our intro. And again, we got some minutes in this lovely basement of the City Hall building in Brighton to spend with you.
Thank you both. Donald?
I got I'm on the beat talks to them, and so I'll be seeing you guys in a month when we have our meeting. A couple of links that came through in that big packet of stuff of like, here's 18 things to know before you go. 3 of them didn't go anywhere. They were broken links. There was a few of them that just didn't work. But with that in mind, I do have a lot of materials that that I've been given to prep. How can I be most prepared? What do you need from me when I'm there?
You're asking us? Yeah. Well, I don't know if you need to go through 18 different reports. That's number one. So number two, I'm assuming you're participating representing downtown in.
Yes, I'm the downtown management representative.
Yeah, so I mean, you're there as a champion for downtown, as one who understands downtown. I mean, certainly having an understanding of the GID, the bid, DBI, how it works. I just looking at your agenda package for this meeting, kudos to the city team. It's very, you've got a lot of data, you got a lot of information at your fingertips. And even just looking at today's agenda packet, there's a lot there. So, I mean, number two is a general knowledge of all the different tools that you participate in. And then three, you know, active. We want you to be active voices around the table. We want you to give us a reality check. I think when we start analyzing and coming up with ideas, I would assume an advocate for downtown. I don't know, Regan, if you would add anything to that, anything else.
I don't think so. Covered it. I'll check those links. Thanks for bringing that up.
Cool.
Great. Well, thank you, Brad and Amanda. So like Brad mentioned, this is a really fast timeline. We have the kickoff meetings coming up, which you'll be part of, Dawn. And then in March, the goal is to have some preliminary recommendations and have Puma come in person to have a more meaningful, thoughtful, engaging conversation with you all to share those recommendations before going to council on April 24th.
Thank you. Good luck at your Brighton meeting.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your meeting and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, now over to Matt Shazansky, who has a couple slides on our 2025 work plan. You'll recall back in November, we gave you kind of a draft preview of what we were anticipating. There hasn't really been a ton of changes, but Matt's done some work to relate our work plan to the draft goals that we're talking about for the commission in the year ahead. So Matt.
Great, and we'll pull up the slide if you just want to hit number 2. That's all we're going to need. The second slide, let's be clear. I just wanted to give you this as a demonstration. We went through in some detail about all the different work groups in community vitality and a lot of things that were coming up when at the last meeting. But we wanted to show you that your conversation about your priorities for the DMC does help us in order to galvanize our thinking and organize the work that we're doing and any gaps that we have. And so this isn't comprehensive, it's more just to demonstrate how we do this. And so what I did is just took the 5 sort of top priorities that were in conversation so far. I know that you're gonna have this conversation in a second, this may change, this will evolve, which is great, because as we listen to those conversations, we'll take that in and kind of work with that. But we sorted some of the projects in some of the different work groups into how they fit into those priorities and how we're working to advance some of the same things. We can kind of go through this a little bit. Perhaps if you want to pull this back up after you have your conversation, and we can talk about that as well. But I just want to hit a few highlights, and I'm actually going to start at the bottom because look at that big gap of space in consider annual summit with different stakeholders that you were talking about already. As you talk about that, if that becomes a priority, we do have some things coming up, including our Emmy, our communication specialist. She kind of works with all our groups. I threw her in with your group, Elliot, just because we needed a good place for her, but she's starting conversations about how do we better communicate what community vitality does, what CAGIT is about, what the DNC does, to make sure that all of our efforts are clear in the community. And especially as Bettina mentioned, there's so many groups overlapping different type of work. And so we need to do a better job of celebrating and talking about what we do. And so that's what that is about. As well, Regan's working on business outreach and how the city joins with all of our other partners that communicate directly with businesses, and making sure that everyone understands that when you pay your taxes and you pay for parking, that money goes to really great things. So that's an example of how we're sort of starting to hit that. The rest of them will be more direct. And so moving up a little bit, we just talked about the improvement district analysis. I wanted to also point out something that may not have been on your radar, which is the Will Streetscapes project. That's not downtown, it's up on the hill, but we're going to be collaborating with transportation on not only some median work along Broadway, but also how people the experience people have in the pedestrian experience from the hill, which is going to tie into how we move visitors from downtown to the hill and back. And so that's going to be a big investment that we make in transportation this year. And then I'm gonna talk last, I think, so that we can save some time. I just want to point out mobility hubs, which Christine's team is working on. It's very exciting, that the prospect of, how to transform parking garages into full mobility hubs where biking, walking, driving, all become part of a place where you land and your first footfalls in Boulder, no matter what transportation method you use, are really centralized and exciting as they spread out downtown. That's something that now has the endorsement of Dr. Cog, right?
Dr.
Dr. Cog now is.
They did
so it's
award
great.
us with that grant that I told you guys about, so we're gonna find out more about the details and we'll share that information, but. These evaluations.
So really transformative and plays into the return to work downtown, he's moving around, and a lot of your other priorities on the list as well, so. I won't go into any detail, but if you have questions about this, we're here to answer it. Like I said, as you have the conversation about your priorities, this is the type of work we're gonna do to make sure that we're aligned. Chris, any other thoughts on all that? Questions about your priorities versus our work?
Other things? Not,
Good question. I'll say that there are things that we must do that I'm not sure that they bubble up to your priority. Right? I won't say they're misaligned, but for instance, the customer service team is a real critical part of what we do. And, the interaction with the community, making sure that everything in, parking permits in the garages to neighborhood parking and, delivering parking closures, like all of that is really frontline stuff. That Christine's team makes a lot of investment in and wants to get right. And that's something that we're really keen on making sure happens that, I'm not sure that is exactly in the list, but, so I think it's a lot of that. There's the regular business cycle that we pay a lot of attention to that may not be on your radar every day.
execution.
Okay.
It's not the sexy stuff.
Need a full-time Reddit.
Oh, we don't already have one.
Thank you.
Yep. Other questions?
All right, moving forward, back over to Regan for an update on the outdoor dining pilot program. Sorry, I didn't have anything fun to say. So
No,
doing up your
come on,
slides. Good dance.
All right, I'll try to keep it fairly brief, but we are about halfway through the pilot program, which runs till 2027. So just wanted to give a few updates on how it's going and our next steps. So this is just an overview of the program. It's citywide. It's a 5-year pilot, currently expires in October of 2027. However, we are planning to go to council later this year to recommend code changes to make it a more permanent offering for the community. It is available to businesses in the public right of way, in on-street parking spots or on the Pearl Street Mall, as well as on private property parking or other open spaces. And another note I'll add is that businesses do have a couple of options if they're in the public right of way. So they can either lease the infrastructure through the city. We have a vendor called Mod Street. They're based out of Durango. They're a parklet manufacturer. Or businesses can build or purchase privately their own compliant infrastructure. So there's a couple different options there. So to help inform the future of the program and get a sense of how it's going, we conducted a survey to existing participants. 12 out of 21 current participants responded. We saw some pretty positive responses. Almost all of the respondents that did respond agreed the program increases Boulder's vibrancy, They all reported a positive impact on business revenue, 7.3% average increase in business revenue. And those that responded indicated they were able to hire 14 new employees, as well as offer additional hours to existing staff. Some suggestions for program improvements that came up in the surveys, so ensuring clear program guidelines. The guidelines as they stand now are in the form of a very lengthy document. And businesses indicated a little bit of confusion or lack of clarity around some areas like lighting, heating, maintenance, cleaning, etc. So we're working on simplifying the guidelines, but also making them more digestible and clear for the business community. Moving the application window. So the current application window as it stands now runs from February 1st to March 1st annually. That has proven to not really allow enough time for businesses to receive their infrastructure if they are leasing from the city. So they go through the application process. Sometimes there are missing documents, so there's a lot of back and forth there.
By spring.
Late summer, we've seen, because even after approvals, we then face this manufacturing timeline with Mod Street, which can range from 6 to 12 weeks, depending on kind of their project load. So, moving the application window was a big point of feedback.
And I think you reapplying, like renewing it, or is this
The
for
leases
you?
are 3 years,
Okay.
so they renew every 3 years. And they don't have to fully reapply, they just pay a renewal fee.
Okay.
So good news, we are going to transition to a rolling application window to allow for more flexibility. For businesses, it actually also helps city staff to not have this influx of applications. Each year, we can really provide more hands-on, bless you, one-on-one assistance. Bless you. And this will go into effect sometime in February, so we'll move forward with launching the application on February 1st, standard application launch date, and then it'll just gradually, it'll naturally transition to a rolling application. Already mentioned, we're updating the program guidelines. And then another kind of win is that Mod Street is now outsourcing all of their standard products instead of manufacturing them in-house. So it significantly decreases lead times. And they promised us a 6-week turnaround for every approved application. So we're gonna write that into the agreement with them. And then lastly, I already mentioned that we're preparing ordinance language and planning to go to council later this year, working with the attorney's office to make this program more permanent.
Great. I don't know what it'd be like without it. So that's a good thing for.
I'm glad it's a success.
Yeah.
Get it permanent.
Yeah. Right, thank you.
All right, last item, real quick, there was some question at the commission meetings back in November whether or not city council was going to be requesting letters from commissioners in preparation for their midterm retreat, which is coming up next month. There was some debate at the retreat committee about whether or not they were going to be asking for letters, and they are not. So staff has not prepared anything for you to that end. Certainly does not forbid the commission from doing its own work and writing a letter if it sees fit. But staff has not been asked to lead that for you all. Just wanted to pass that.
You guys want to write a letter. I think one of the things we've been trying to do is communicate more with council and so on. Do you?
What we write it about,
Well,
like what
that's for
what
us to
is the
just.
burning platform for a letter?
I don't think in some years, I feel like we've had to talk about issues that weren't being addressed. Now with its council's plans being fairly aligned with what we're looking for. That's good news. We could continue to support them in that, although it's just noise and but they'll read it and do what they're doing. You know, they're not asking, but that's my question, you know, just because they asked. We're trying to do more outreach to others, become less of a bubble. Do we feel compelled to write a letter in support of kind of what we're about to talk about with our priorities? We could just tell them our priorities are this now, you know, maybe just a summary of what we come up with in the next 20 minutes.
Feel like we should have that conversation.
Do that and then talk about it. Revisit it. Fine, Michael.
All right. That concludes matters for staff.
Matters from Commissioner are the priorities. And so I missed last meeting, and so we were asked to resubmit our priorities.
Too many priorities, we thought.
Yeah,
So
we do.
should narrow them down. And I thanks Erica for sending yours narrowed down. I wrote them on my computer, which died. But could we like do that exercise now? Is that the goal?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
And we push so we have time. to do it. So Erica had those, I kind of, I didn't understand the goal, so I didn't change them, but I do, Erica had number 1. Can we bring up the
Hey, yeah, sorry.
agenda thing, because it'll be easier for us all to look at it? Yeah. Yeah, if you go to Erica's, I think that's a good starting place, because I think, well, I'll refer to Erica's here. You click it a couple more times. Oh, thank you. So Erica had support for police and other interventions regarding safety in and around downtown. 2, support the downtown ambassador program. 3, return to work. 4, increase accessibility and foot traffic to the Hill. And vice versa. Consider annual summit. I summarized them similarly. It's not up there, so I have to kind of say this out loud. My number 1 is similar: safety, policing, and ambassadors. So I consolidated them to kind of similar topics, but safety, policing, and ambassadors. My number 2 is economic vitality, return to work. Underused spaces, planning updates. I mean, that has nothing to do with this, so what needs to be withdrawn. My number 3, connections to the Hill of Pearl. And my number 4 was the summit to other boards. So I kind of consolidated things, but also expanded them by kind of adding a couple of words to it. So my number 1 was similar to hers: safety, policing, and ambassadors. So I put her 2 into number 1, kind of. My number 2 is just a broad sense of economic vitality with subpoints of return to work, supporting return to work, and helping with underutilized spaces, whether that's planning or other things we need to do. My number 3 then was connecting the Hill. And my number 4 was this summit with the other boards.
Well, I think, I don't necessarily have too many. I guess I just. But, I think that we should have that are at a higher priority than that, without losing sight of some of the other things that we have on. Like economic vitality, for example, is like the big picture, but there are probably 6 or 7 on there that contribute to that particular priority.
And that's why I kind of did the subpoints.
Right. So yeah, that's just my main. So much of what we have listed as priorities from years past and now think a lot of this can be accomplished with any pressure our commission is able to put on anyone to increase affordability just across the board. So I don't know how to exactly incorporate that, but just prioritize affordability both for commercial and residential
So we could.
in
support
our
them.
area.
So we could, for example. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I don't know where we stand with that affordable commercial program is, but we could put that under economic vitality and have that as something.
Sure. But yeah, I think addressing things like that and incorporating more programs like the affordable commercial. Grant. Those would kind of interlace into a lot of these priorities that we have, just increasing footfall, decreasing use of cars. Increasing revenues for businesses in the downtown area. I think all those things are interconnected to overall affordability. So any opportunity we have to make things more affordable for businesses and residents in town, any way that the downtown management commission is able to put pressures on, I think we should take that focus on that.
Let me explore that affordability and what you're talking about for that. We talked about the affordable commercial, and that was where I went to it with it.
Sure.
But when we're also looking at the stats from the restaurants and like minimum wage and expenses increasing and stuff, I don't think we have much impact or say or anything we can do with those things.
Right.
Well,
And then there's-
promotions make eating out more affordable.
Yeah, and then I was
right?
thinking like the restaurant program with like doing like food weeks and stuff like that. That's marketing, but it's that's all part of it. So. Yes.
I think the combination of, it seems like we're at pretty much ideal police staffing, which has just been a topic for like many years about being understaffed, and that just, it doesn't seem like as much of an issue now. So that's good. And then the ambassadors, I think like if we're advocating for like more funding from, I don't know where we're at with that, like long-term funding, that would be something specifically that I think it would make sense for us to advocate for, like a place for them to call home, just like part of Parks has an annual budget, for that team, like this kind of pilot stage, if that's what it's still at, like hopefully we can move out of that. So I'd be interested in moving out of the pilot stage for that, and for obviously for the outdoor dining too. It's become like these two things in particular become things in the city that it would be strange if they went away now, like they're very core, I think, to the downtown. The bigger projects that I'm most interested in is like, I haven't heard of like really a large amount of creative pilot options of really moving the return to work. Granted, like no one in the country has figured this out, but like it does feel like that you could try more things. I don't know if you should try more things, but it just seems like, hey, we have a pretty innovative crew here in space, like what can we try to get more businesses to come here? I mean, I think I don't know how much like direct outreach the chamber's doing to like actually recruit businesses and all that type of stuff, but I've heard that they haven't ever had to do that, so that would be like a big shift.
Right.
In the way that the city thinks about getting businesses to come here. We just assumed who wouldn't want to live here. And that, so I think that the effort seems still really reactive there from what I've heard. So I'd be curious to like be a part of, I don't know what we can do again, but I'd be interested in that. And then similarly with the Hill, like these are big multi-group projects, but like the Civic Center redo and the Hill stuff, like there's just so much underutilized land, sadly. I'm just actually very sad about it. Like, people don't use the creek path as much, like they don't go to the Civic Center Park, and it's just underutilized city space around the downtown, whereas obviously like the Pearl Street Mall block, like so many people are on there, but like we're more than just Pearl Street Mall, the city of
Right.
Boulder. And those corridors could really change how people see the park and so I'm definitely interested in how do we expand the downtown to creating these corridors, and it gives people a reason to come to Boulder, like there's new stuff happening here, it's not
Yeah.
just Pearl Street Mall, you know? And the same activities, which are fine, but like, I do think if we're talking about a big year plan, like, that's what I'm interested in, so these like corridors and the economic development. So those are I think it aligns with what we're doing. I'm less interested in summits unless I think it's gonna do something meaningful.
It's an outcome of how we do these things.
Well,
They're not a goal in and of
I'm
themselves.
True, but we, do a lot of meetings, and I would want to make sure that the meetings are, purposeful, like we come out with an output that is really aligned with our priorities.
Yeah, almost.
Just because,
Hearing what Chris has to
they
say
have to
about it,
plan it,
we
so it
almost
really-
have to like do our own work to make it.
like worthwhile for all the planning, right, like. To make it happen. And I don't think we should do it just to do it, so. So I think I think we're all like aligned on. These bigger projects, but our role in them that's my big question, like. What is our role in them? Because we have the small peaks and I don't think it makes sense for our priorities to be misaligned with like the day-to-day of community vitality. Like, cause my other answer would be, I really would love to rename and paint the parking garages and make them woodland animal themed.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. Who doesn't love a cute owl? Okay, yeah, back to the owl. Christine does, she likes the owl idea. Oh, I'm fixated on this owl because I had that baby owl in like the raptor program that they had in one of the.
I might pause this just to keep us on focus.
It's
Erica,
like
Erica, I want to make sure that you get a chance to speak too. You had your list that you submitted, but do you want to talk to it and react to kind of any of what you've heard?
Yeah, I feel so for me, the hill thing is, it's hard as a visitor. I think it's really hard to get the scope of the boundaries of downtown. And so now with the conference center and the Moxie and, just even the amount of people that we had coming to CU games, and, that's kind of where they pour out of and come down the hill and then come down to Pearl. I just want to make sure that we're able to kind of support the hill, because I think whether we think it or not, they are being lumped in as downtown Boulder and as people's experience. So I just, and my mom had a store on the hill it'll be 52 years in March. So I think the hill finally is getting some traction as far as not just sort of being this like the redheaded stepchild or whatever. But I do think that I want to make sure that when people are on the hill, they have as good of an impression of Boulder as they are downtown. I think we just separate them, but I do think anybody spending time there, if they have a bad experience up there, it's going to reflect negatively on all of the work that we're doing downtown. And then, yeah, even just talking about the Civic Center Park, like all of a sudden I'm just sort of thinking, yeah, why don't people play Frisbee down there? And like, could we have like a disc golf tournament and, certain things? Because it's such a really beautiful, underused lawn area. And I think, yeah, trying to get people to not focus on downtown always just being like Pearl Street. But yeah, and then getting people back to work. I'm curious. I know, we've had a few of these like work share places that like have come and kind of gone. And but even if there's any grant money towards getting, like, I know we're trying to rent spaces for retail and other things, you know, and but just anytime we can get more bodies that like their job is to be downtown, then that automatically, like, they're more likely to eat and shop down there because they already have to be there. But I agree that is a huge, like, you know, nationwide, probably even worldwide issue right now that we're all dealing with. But like downtown Denver, I'd be like, no way, sorry. Like, but downtown Boulder, I'm like, I don't know, there's just so much going on down there that I think there's a lot of appeal to just maybe you don't even if you work down there, you don't feel the pressure to go down there regularly because you spend money and you shop already. But yeah, so my priorities were just, you know, and safety being like, you know, because I just had 2 police officers come in, check in, and they were just sort of doing their rounds, and they're the mall cops. And I really didn't have anything to say, you know, negative. I mean, the cold weather always cleans up the mall a little bit. Um, but really wanting people to feel safe being down there and that they aren't like, I feel like we should get going. It's getting a little bit weird down here, you know? So, yeah, I feel like I do agree that priorities could be, but I guess I didn't know as an option to combine. So, but yeah, I think we could probably combine some of those into, you know, longer bullet points because they do sort of fall into subcategories of each other.
So I'm trying to write this up so we can react to it. Ellie, can I send this to you so you can get it up on the screen?
Yeah.
So I've got it written up here. And it'll come to you. The moments, thanks to Al Gore. So we can react to what I've kind of written up based on kind of just what everyone say. Maybe you want to put this like in your own Word document, so you can copy and paste and edit it and stuff. Because that's maybe my goal is I tried to do like a first pass here, and now we can kind of beat it up a little bit more.
Can I make just a quick comment? I know I'm not a commissioner, but I'm hearing you talk about the return to work conundrum. And one of the conversations that we've been having in the industry is moving away from saying return to work and starting to say a tenant vacant office space.
Yeah.
Because that feels like maybe something that's a little more approachable than trying to fix the cultural.
Yeah.
I don't know that it necessarily has to be filling places with workers. Could be filling places with people that live or utilize it.
And that's what I did
Yeah,
with,
re-tenanting spaces. It's better because people aren't, you know, remote work is here to stay, but something else. Or other non-remote businesses.
the bullets didn't come through super well. If you indent the ones with dashes, isn't it great to watch people like type together?
Yeah.
You're good, Grace and Natasha.
So that's how I kind of organize it. We can change the but like, so what we were talking, I put support employees return to the office, but then. The next one was activate unutilized spaces / code changes to make it so people could live or, you know, one of the places wanted to do an event space.
I think we should get rid of, I mean, what can we do to get employees to return to the office?
Well, what I did think about that is like, BBP has had like. Employee Appreciation Week. I think it's great fun, and it does bring my staff to work, and.
Employee appreciation year.
Yeah, we're gonna tell them as the CEO, you need to come in the office. We
But-
try that, it doesn't.
Well, no, it doesn't work, but if we make it so like. Could we have ideations around what else we could do? Could we do, instead of doing it all in one day, could we do it like once a month and do one part of that event? You know, every one one day a month and we kind of break it up into smaller things, or could we, in a akin to the restaurant thing, you know, where right now we've got like one big event, so like the Taste of Boulder and stuff. What if we like had Chinese month, Chinese restaurant week, visit a Chinese restaurant, or, you know, kind of, visit all the Moroccan Arabic places in town week or day, or, you know, just, there's ways we can kind of tie these things together.
So this is Madison Commissioner, so I don't want to chime in too much. And we can stay as long as you all agree to stay. We did offer, and maybe you were here at the last meeting. If there isn't, you know, there seems like there wants to be more discussion around a lot of priorities and narrowing in. One of the services that staff does provide is a retreat. And we haven't had one with this commission for a while, and I think I did. I
We did
mentioned
one
that.
a year and a half ago. or so.
Yeah, so is it, I would maybe pose the question to the commission, and unless you feel like you are getting really close and we are dialing it in great. Or a goal for 2025 could be to have another retreat to narrow.
Well, let me just do first. How do you guys feel about this? Are we close? Do we need to spend more time?
I mean, I think we're close, and I think that does consolidate a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're close.
Because we could take, but I know a retreat takes a lot of effort. So, you know, Stephanie, do you feel differently? Or do we want to email this out and, you know, we do it's tough for us to do an email because we have to email it to Ellie and then she has to send it out and we can't talk to each other.
I think that the top three. If the bullet points are in the same verb phrase, I will prefer that.
We could wordsmith it.
Yeah, I think like. I think we're close. This covers a lot of. What we do day to day, plus some a little bit more efficient thing. Yeah, the last one I don't yet have a vision for, but I'm supportive of being on there. We'll develop that further. The rest, we're already involved in something, so.
Things not on the list, meaning engagement and collaboration. One of them is called urban redevelopment and collaboration, so maybe that's the one about code changes we could call urban redevelopment. Potentially.
I just think like activating underutilized spaces, whatever that. Repurposing that, we just want to broaden that, not try to be. List everything possible.
What would you like to put there?
Well, we're just talking about how there's vacant office spaces, a lot of them. And the city, we're not getting anything from them, like, we're getting sales tax, we're not getting people there. So it's just wasted space, so I think the theme is just. How do we do more to fill that space? We don't even have to say with what.
Well, it says urban redevelopment is one of the things on our, I'm looking at our list.
Yeah, I don't know what that, we even meant by that, so. They're so broad that we're not.
These are 2024, this list here, just.
I'd opt for more specific. Rather. Than sure.
Well, there copy changes, because if we're closer, there's specific copy.
I would just get rid of
Just wanna-
more words. I wouldn't try and just list everything out. Just try and make mutually exclusive categories that are broad. Yet specific, that we know what they mean. Yeah, so like, I would get rid of support employees return to the office. I think it's. Non-specific. Probably. But that's just me. Yeah, but I don't really care. If you want to wordsmith and make them mutually exclusive and collectively exhausting. That's what I would do in my normal work. Let's do it here.
Would be a thoughts back.
Yeah. I like the simplicity of this rather than getting lost in this. we can. Even with the sub bullet points, I think if we just have these 4. And sum it with other boards, I mean. I think
I
that'll
will
just
do it
be a
that.
product, yeah, that'll just be a byproduct of. When things rise, but, I think. I like those as our 3 main priorities.
Would you like to? Co-writing in a group is very hard. Do you want to,
No,
Stephanie, do you want
I
to?
would not like to.
Okay,
Justin would love.
Sure.
do you want to take a chance at smoothing that out a little bit?
Yeah, like one person.
And then send it to Ellie and. You can
Sounds
distribute
great.
it and do that. Awesome. Okay, great. Well, hearing that then, Al will take care of that. And report back.
Get it there, then that'll get to everybody, including Andy, that's not here.
Yep.
We can. Just have a vote. To.
Yeah, I guess we can have the final
Make it
one and have
official.
the vote next time, but it'll be tweaked and ready for update.
That works for everybody.
Our next commission meeting is March 11th. Do I hear? Can I move?
I want to apologize. There was not on the agenda an update from Commissioner Shreves on the bid meetings,
Oh.
bid meetings that you are an ex officio board member on.
I
We
think
will make sure they're, yeah.
Tina covered it.
Yeah.
She did, really. I was like, she covered it all.
Um,
She's so thorough. That's her problem. I have nothing to
All right, I just wanted to create space for that, so apologies.
Oh,
Sure that
thank
it's
you.
on there for
Thank you.
future reference, but
Yeah, but, like, I think that the bike, the only thing I remember that was unusual is that they were like, bike thefts are up, but like, I'm like, is that seasonal? And we didn't really get to it and people like got worried about it, but. That was, and your laptop got seasonal? Yeah, so it's hard to know if these are like seasonal things and sometimes. They talked about thefts a lot, so that was, I guess that's the main takeaway, that there's a lot of business theft recently. And they're like, they have safety meetings and stuff about it, so align with our priorities, keep it up there. Yeah. Okay,
Do I hear movement?
Yeah.
Second,
second.
all right.
Erica, are you voting?
Technically, under Robert's rules, the chair gets to end the meeting whenever you want. Without, you don't even need approval from your other. From the other.
4:02.
Yeah.
we could have-
Does those feel like,
Thanks, Erica, for joining.
we need more.
Thank you.
Together.
Oh, sorry, you guys. I'm going to Casa Bonita, so I had to leave.
Nice.
Have fun.
So you're in the car, but I couldn't say no. Like waited 2 years.
Have fun.